Working Class Frame Rate. This is our 5th episode for our second week of our horror film extravaganza, where we cover 5 horror films every week, 4 different subgenres. And today's pick is
The Devil by Andrzej Zulawski.
And we actually both sat down
name.
and watched this. This is actually on YouTube with English subtitles.
Free.
And what the fuck?
And that was a masterpiece.
Masterpiece is crazy work. I can't lie.
Dude.
Explain to me your reasoning. Explain to me your pros.
Dude, how can you not? It's like
Talk to me.
on
Talk to me.
all
Tell her.
levels.
Tell me.
The complex shots. Okay, this is 1972 communist Poland, and this man is dragging this camera across whole plains of grasslands, and it's beautiful. And then we have just very complex messaging with the history of Poland, the violence, the characters, the memorable set deco. I just felt like everything about this film was firing on all cylinders, and I even changed my Letterbox top 4 and put this in here.
Holy shit!
I loved this film.
I will say this does feel like, it's kind of like a Safdie
It's kind of
movie.
it's kind of a deep film,
dude. It's like if the MCU.
Yeah. Do you know the second partition of Poland?
Dude, okay, I'll be honest with you. I think it was just very overwhelming. That's not a critique of the movie by any means.
No, it literally is.
Just, there is so much in this movie.
Just the opening.
It doesn't stop to let you breathe ever.
No.
I feel like even though it feels like slow at times, it still feels like there's so much going on. And this man who's been freed from, I think he was a prisoner of war.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
If I remember correctly, I think he was there right before the invasion started.
I don't mean to come off like a newbie or like a new guy into movies, but I did feel like the pacing was very chaotic, akin to like a Safdie brothers movie. Where is that like too new?
That's a little bit.
I just started watching movies. I just started watching.
It was
movies.
Kind of hard to look you in the eyes when you said that.
Yeah, I just like, dude. It's kind of like Ari Aster.
I get what you're saying though, because in a way, Zulawski's work is the inklings that led to like people like the Safdies. So like to tether that, you are correct. It is a very similar energy to that world. I guess where I would say though that it does it even crazier
for sure
is like at least the Safdies mix it with humor. There's levity.
Well,
Zulawski's work is
sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. The way I always view Zulawski's work, especially because you've also watched Possession.
Yeah,
his shit is a roller coaster.
Right.
It hits that once you hit that dip, it's like it doesn't stop.
It's unbelievable. And I want to reframe my statement. I do want to say that you could see this guy's director's influence on Safdie Brothers.
Very fair.
Or even a lot of modern day filmmakers.
Yeah.
I want to reframe that statement because obviously, it's just very like, I just started watching film.
Yeah, you've seen Good Time.
Yeah, exactly. You know Robert Pattinson?
Yeah, you ever heard of Twilight, bro?
Yeah, exactly. You don't even know about Twilight.
Yeah, you don't know Zbigniew Brzezinski.
Look, The Devil was an experience. I'll give you that. And I definitely felt it to be so I don't know. It was just haunting.
Overwhelming.
Haunting and overwhelming.
Yes.
I found the devil character to be such a silly goober. Like he would pop up like a jester. Like he would just pop up like dancing around like, oh, killer.
Well, and you can tell it's brimming with philosophical questions. Like that's why like I can't blame you for feeling the way you do, because it's like like even to a degree, I'm still processing it. I don't even fully understand it.
Yeah.
I just think it's one of those movies where I was watching it and I was like, I don't think I've thought about a movie like this in I don't even know how long, where I was just thinking about every piece of words and dialogue these characters are saying and soaking it in because it's packed. And I think it's very interesting that historically, because also if people who don't know, Josue knows I'm a huge history nerd.
Yeah.
This is during the second partition of Poland, so Prussian troops are just invading Poland.
Okay.
And I thought the opening is perfectly set up the tone of the film, where you're immediately in this war zone, and it's like there's this 20-minute sequence of the devil basically going into this madhouse during an invasion and yanking our main character out as if he's like literally like just a pimple in a crowd. You know what I mean? And
I was surprised you got him out, honestly.
Exactly.
Like, okay.
And right there, it set the tone.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about that alone. It had me just thinking about how exciting it was. And I was thinking it was a shame we didn't see this on the big screen.
This would have been insane on the big screen. I think I would have been even more overwhelmed if I saw this on the big screen.
Oh, it would have just felt like a carnival ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, this film is very much Zulawski riffing. Like, it's very much like he had a lot he wanted to say about class, Poland's history itself. Also a lot of, because this is during the occupation of Poland from Russia.
Yeah.
What he has to say about people supporting the occupation, people who are fighting against it.
Oh, you're right.
It definitely, and I don't see now. It's funny you were talking about Savvy Brothers. This is you're gonna get the A24 out of me now. I was gonna say it was giving me a little bit of Bo. Where
that's right.
I could see Ari Aster watching this as well, because there's a lot of comedic interactions that are just surreal, and like they have no tether to any logic. And even though we were disturbed by so many graphic scenes of violence and mutilation, there would just be these moments where me and him would crack up because it would just have like the goofiest tone, and you'd be like, this isn't even the same movie.
Yeah. I always think about just the devil and just how he acts in this movie.
Yeah.
Just like how he leads
Handing
him
the knife.
He leads him astray every step of the way.
Every time.
Every step of the way, the devil is there to just kind of like lead him to act in a certain way and or
manipulate him.
do violence, commit acts of violence.
And emotionally manipulate him. I thought it was really interesting how interchangeable it was tone-wise, because there's so many scenes of comedic violence and graphic, serious violence, and it's funny because they're both super bloody. But I thought his mastery of the tone was what made it work so well, especially.
I was very intrigued by how he was around women and how he even his sister kind of wanted him in a romantic way, or at least it was very much like reliant on his love and like actually really cared for him, and like even how he was with that other lady from the cult.
Yeah, one of the most graphic scenes is when he slashes that woman's throat, and he runs out of this sort of whorehouse. Spoilers, it's his mom's, and just I remember sequences like that and just being sort of enamored with the process of how it was made. And, I just think this is so unique. And, Zuvalsky isn't really as well known in America. He's more of like a Euro art circuit kind of guy. Or when he was alive, posthumously. But I think he's a voice that kind of gets underappreciated.
Oh. Yeah, I still have yet to watch a couple. I mean, I've seen Possession, and Possession
Which
is incredible.
That's another 5.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying too. Is like The Devil, Possession are the 2 I've seen, and they're both like some of the most unique films I've ever experienced.
And you know what? There's a lot to love here from the set pieces, the way that it's shot too. I love the exterior shots and these wide landscapes and the snow. The way the snow looks in this movie it looks so beautiful. The pacing is definitely. I feel like I felt the weight of this movie on my shoulders. Like as we started entering into the second hour of this, I was starting to feel the weight of his crimes, the weight of the journey, and trying to find reason with everything. But the thing is, there is really no reason. It's just the devil committing acts of violence until we get to the end where it's used for political gain.
Yeah, well, see, I was going to ask you. See, what I've, because obviously this was during the communist government in Poland, which cracked down on a lot of free speech. That's why Zuvalsky left Poland. But the way you basically figure out the devil's motive is a political transaction where he's the one to push down the revolution. And I think that's super interesting, because I was extrapolating that in a way he was kind of describing a little bit of the Soviets in that way, because there was a huge split between them in the 60s and 70s between seeing them as liberators or just a new form of hierarchy. Yeah. And just the way that scene plays out too, and it leads to a scene of genital mutilation as well. Yeah. It was so poignant, and it felt like the thesis was in that scene where he was just like kind of the bow on top.
Yeah, in exchange for money too.
Yeah, and there's a great line too. I actually did write down one quote. Yeah, where the guy, the Prussians he sold out the Poles to. Yeah, he basically says like, you get your gold, but he's like, we don't respect you. Like, we just see you as gum on a shoe, essentially. And like, it's the paraphrase, but. And it's crazy because he did all that, and it's like he doesn't even get the satisfaction of an upgrade. In a similar way,
it's probably like Judas,
exactly,
especially with the gold coins. Mm-hmm. That's where I kind of felt like I was like, oh, this is kind of like a religious allegory here, because it's just like Judas just betrayed Jesus in a way, like he sold out that government.
He sold the motherland, the miserable motherland.
Yeah, and he sold them out to these people who you said are who did he sell them out to?
The Prussians, basically the Germans.
Yeah, so he sold them out to the Germans, and they give him these gold coins, and I believe he doesn't even cash all of them, just kind of like toss them.
He literally doesn't even like hand it to him. He just dumps it, and then he literally, I don't even think he looks at him. He just walks away.
Damn, he's like, get your money.
He literally they look at him as just like he's a little rat.
Damn.
Yeah, and then spoilers, he gets his penis cut off.
Yeah. I remember that.
And that's, one thing I also have to hammer home too. It's like serious ideas being like thoroughly vetted and discussed, and then it's like penis gets cut off. Like that's this movie. That's why I meant like the bow comparison, because I was like, Ari Aster's very in tune with movies like this, so I was like, I could see where he could pull that like Zulawski's love of like doing absurd violence with very serious themes.
Yeah, I look, I actually recommend this movie highly. I think this is a journey that, if you're into weird, freaky movies and you're looking for something that's going to actually challenge you as a viewer, I can't recommend this movie enough. Only because, I'm still grappling with what I experienced, and just how the devil just worked his way to use this man to commit acts of violence and then ultimately use it as a political gain. And it's very interesting, especially with the historical background that you give. And I think this is something that everyone needs to experience.
Absolutely. We're forgetting one more detail. This also directly influenced Nosferatu's set design.
No way.
Yes, Robert Eggers is a huge fan of this film.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, you could tell its influence on a lot of modern day movies. Like I was saying earlier,
Well, we were just talking about the theme of Judas and selling out the Polish people and, for power. No spoilers, but OBAA, a lot of themes with Sean Penn in power and selling out.
Yeah, you're right.
Still talking about it to this day.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
The Devil, 1972. If you have not seen it, it's on YouTube. We can't recommend this movie enough. Yeah, this was a wild journey.
Wild movie.
And I can't recommend it enough. I really enjoyed this movie.
Loved it. I give it a clean 5. This is great.
I give it a heart. I liked it. This concludes week 2 of Horror Film Extravaganza, where we cover 5 horror films, 4 horror subgenres for 4 weeks this month of October. I actually had fun with some of these, but to be honest with you, these were draining. These were actually pretty tough.
This was a punishing week, but I think it produced some of our most fruitful conversations.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed our Strange Circus conversation. If you have not listened to the other episodes, we're all out on streaming right now, wherever you can consume a podcast. If you can't sit down and watch the video format, all individualized episodes are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
YouTube.
Yeah, it's going to be all for you to consume if you can have time to sit down and watch the video format. And that is for every single movie. So if you haven't seen a couple of these, don't worry, guys. Just go to the episode for the movies that you've only seen, and then just you can listen to those conversations.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of movies.
Yeah.
But we thank you guys for following along with us. This is Working Class Frame Rate. If you're not already subscribed to our channel, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that like, follow.
Now. Follow our individual Instagrams.
Yeah, Working Class Frame Rate on Instagram, on TikTok. Shout out Billy for editing, Ivana for helping with the audio.
Thank you, guys.
Working Class Frame Rate. I'm your co-host, Josue and
Austin.
We'll catch y'all next week for
Body horror.
Body horror. I'm super excited about that.
It's going to be a gross week.
Yeah, catch y'all next week.
Sign off.